the social networks coming online is creating trust, and the services that are now being provided in a new way, like music was 12 years ago, are much more real world. And so, in some sense, like the sharing economy is not just sort of, here is what the internet is changing, but it's sort of a lot of things that seem to have been building up in the past are coming together nicely. I'm trying to understand between the government doing certain things to keep us safe, like regulating taxis and sort of setting rules for hotels and inspecting restaurants. Between that and technology doing it, reputation systems, the platforms themselves, the trust infrastructures, what should the new division of responsibility be between the marketplace and the government? And I guess I'm also trying to build ways in which a lot of the sharing I see in the sharing economy is between similar people. So, like, you guys are sort of like, sort of good sharing economy candidates. You're young, you're middle class or upper middle class, you're urban. And, so car sharing, sort of like ride sharing, apartment sharing, food sharing, a lot of this asset, like, borrowing people's, sort of camping equipment, it's happening between people who sort of are similar in how much they have. And I'm interested in how we can come up with marketplace models or marketplaces where there's sharing between people who have a lot and people who don't have so much, so that we're actually equalizing without saying let's change incomes, let's redistribute wealth. Maybe we can equalize people's experiences in life without necessarily changing anything about income. For India and China, I think that the invisible infrastructure that we sort of talked about a little earlier, that you can create a real network without laying the rails. You create a public transit network sort of in a decentralized way. I think those principles, like are going to be hugely valuable for India and China in the next 50 years, because together they have to build the equivalent of, I think, 100 Manhattans worth of new urban space. And if they can, even if you can do it with 1% or 2% or 3% fewer assets, or with less sort of physical infrastructure, and in sort of an efficient way, I mean, the impacts on these two countries could be huge. I think that there's a strong, what you're pointing out is that there's a strong sort of cultural element to any sort of shared activity. I think in some ways, I mean, like, it's in India, for example, there is a greater level of trust on certain dimensions. But it tends to sort of be concentrated it's more local.